A black man is worth 3/5 a white man. Who are you northerners coming down here and telling me that I'm wrong? The next, number 3, is moral objectivity. This is a huge point of argument and debate amongst primarily Christians and atheists. But the evidence to me points towards objective morality. That is to say that there is an objective moral law that transcends culture, time, and the laws of the land. Objective moral law implies a moral lawgiver. Therefore, it must be rejected by a secular humanist. Objective morality indicates and insists that humans have innate value. Not because culture tells me, not because it benefits my particular tribe, not because some arbitrary law tells me it does, but because we are made in the image of God. A subjective moral view is that I determine what is right and wrong. It's subjective. Morality is relative. There is no God, therefore there is no moral lawgiver. If there is only physical, we're just a collection of atoms and chemicals, and whether you do right or wrong, the end result for you will be the same. You'll be fertilizer in the earth. Then it would be at your benefit to procure as much physical pleasure as you could while you have that set period of time.
You've been bad. Have mercy.
And a concept like sacrifice would be absolutely foolish. For a secular humanist to judge the morality, the right and wrong of another person or another group is, and it's going to sound harsh, intellectual hypocrisy, and is absolutely counter to the worldview they insist that they have. You say murder is wrong, I say murder is right. Where do you get off telling me what is right or wrong? You do you live your life as good or right or however you want to live, and I'll live my life as good as or right as however I want to live. And the argument against this, what I usually hear, is your culture or the way that you're brought up dictates your moral compass. Thank you so much for leaving that comment down below. I got it. So if I grew up in Nazi Germany, and my culture tells me that gassing Jews is morally right, where do you get off as Americans, as the English, coming over to my culture, to my country, and telling me that I'm wrong? If I grew up in the southern United States in the 1800s, and my culture tells me that a black man is inferior to a white man, a black man is worth 3/5 a white man, who are you northerners coming down here and telling me that I'm wrong if morality is subjective? If I decide to poison my grandmother so I can collect my inheritance faster, who are you to tell me I shouldn't? She's gonna die soon anyways. She's a collection of atoms and chemicals. It's gonna be in the earth regardless of what I do. Morality is relative. It's subjective. And what we find in every case of this is that there were people who grew up in this culture, knew it was morally wrong to gas the Jews and to be racist and to kill your grandparents, and they actively fought against it. But if you were to try to accept subjective morality, you'd have no authority or cause to judge anyone else's perception of their own moral code. If you want to rape a woman because you have a high testosterone amount, and there's a weaker woman walking down the street, who's to say that's wrong? It might be wrong to you, to your opinion, but to me it might be right. It's all relative, it's all subjective. Right and wrong are not real values. Now, I might hurt someone's feelings, I might not feel very good about it, but as a logical atheist, I know, logically, there's no moral absolute. And to quote Nietzsche, one of the most vocal anti-Christian atheists that has ever lived, morality is just a fiction used by the herd of inferior human beings to hold back the few superior men. One of the greatest atheists acknowledges the pointlessness of having a moral code. You would have to. As a Christian, I claim that all humans have innate, inherent value, not by chance, not because I personally feel that way, not because my culture tells me that they do, but because they are made in the image of God. If I claim this and then I murder someone, you'd be absolutely right to call me a hypocrite. I claim that all life is valuable, but then here I am killing somebody. However, if you claim that morality is subjective, there is no right and wrong, there is no moral absolutes, it's all just relative and personal and cultural and tribal, then I would say, live that out. I have never once ever met an atheist who can live out the philosophy of moral subjectivity. Luckily, most of the atheists I know and choose to interact with are all great people, and I love them to death. But if an atheist passes moral judgment or claims that something is wrong, it's contradictory to the worldview they claim to have. If the KKK believes it's okay to harass and kill black people, that's fine. It's all relative. But often, and luckily, you hear atheists with extreme moral codes and protests. It's because they know a black person has the exact same amount of value as a white person. It's because they know it's wrong to murder, it is wrong to rape, it is wrong to abuse children. That gassing Jews is wrong whether you grew up in Nazi Germany or not. And they believe this so strongly that they advocate intervention and even punishment for people who perpetrate those things, even if they're not from our culture, country, or tribe. And I'm grateful for that. but it is intellectual hypocrisy to the worldview of subjective morality. And the fact that even a secular humanist has such an innate hardwiring for the moral implies a moral lawgiver. The evidence points towards God. Now, the last and most important is the historicity of Jesus Christ.
Would you like to become even stronger? You see.